Welcome back, dude.
Thanks for having me. If anybody wants to know what it's been like working for threadguy so far, he has us doing TA on OnlyFans creator charts. So
It
that's
looks
been the
good.
experience so far.
It looks like a classic short. If you flip that chart over your long 50x, it looks good,
Dude,
dude.
it's consolidating. It's gonna run up to 200 mil. Just stay tuned.
It looks good, man. I don't know, but dude, welcome back to the stream. Since you last came on, a lot has happened in the markets. You are now a team member with us, a counterparty. I mean, I haven't really publicly talked about it that much other than my tweet that I've made. What was that? Why did you join Counterparty, dude? Also, give us an intro if
Dude,
you
what?
want. Give us an intro if you want.
Yeah, Tulip King, newest member of the team. Happy to be here, coming from Masari and one time stream guest. Dude, you made a good pitch. I think you kind of said it. Like, this is the network state. Like, I definitely believe in what we're building here, and kind of the fact that like you can create like a high value community in crypto in kind of a way that you can't do with other things. And like this is the evolution of the game, right? It's not gambling Steve will do it content. It's like get smarter, let's win type content. So I was like, fuck it. I can't imagine not being a part of it.
Did I give you a sick pitch?
Oh yeah, Malcolm too. But you were definitely on point.
Let me go. I came on like fucking fired up. I was like, dude, yeah, that's awesome. It's been a fun like short period of time since you've joined. I think you've definitely elevated everything that we do here. I'm enjoying the segments, by the way, as well. We'll talk about it off stream a little bit, but give us like a quick intro. I think most people that are here right now were here for your first stream, but like, what do you focus on? What do you pay the most attention to? What are you interested in right now in crypto? Like, who are you?
Yeah. So before joining this, I was leading like data engineering like at Masari. So I kind of like helped all of our analysts with their different like needs for data and all that stuff. So like the only thing I kind of really care about in crypto is like what's next, essentially. So right now, like I'm insanely bullish on prediction markets. I'm still like a let's go poly market the best. I'm still a Zec bull, but I have introduced a lot of patience into my like Zec thesis nowadays. Um, but I also just like love crypto, right? So it's honestly just like I think it looks like we're in a bear market maybe, and bear markets are honestly some of the most like fun times you can actually have in crypto. Like if you have the right attitude, if you have the like if you actually love this shit and you like thinking about this, and the market says okay, I'll give you 2 days, like you can think like there's nothing to trade, just read some good shit, like talk to some smart people, and like actually start to form opinions, like figure out how you're going to win the next cycle. Then honestly, this is some of the like most fun, best time in crypto.
Bear markets are fun in the same way that I say like pledging was fun. It's like I don't want to fucking do it again, but I'm like kind of happy it went on. You know what I'm like? I don't like it wasn't the worst thing in the world. At the time it's brutal though, but I think dude, I think kind of the focus of the stream right now is going to be on this what's next. And I actually like that we did the segment today and that you worked on it.
Yeah.
Daniel worked on it as well. Um, Part of the reason I like it is it sort of sets the stage for this. I'm going to use the word framework. I don't know how. I need a better word. This like mutual consensus. How about that? That where we agree things are headed, but you don't have to be long degeneracy to be long like meme coins. You know what I mean? Like we don't have to think meme coins are going to make it. You don't have to think
Right.
NFTs are going to make it in particular. And so I think we're also in this spot where we're sort of like looking for this next game. I want to start with prediction markets because I mean, dude, you love prediction markets, which is awesome. You have prolifically tweeting about poly market, about getting back into green, about making money. I guess like set the stage a little bit because I think, as you know, there's a lot of people that are interested, intrigued. They see the discourse on Twitter, they see us talking about it, but then actually taking positions and turning P&L is like a little bit of a different story. Like, how's your experience been so far, and like, what side of prediction markets are you interested in?
Yeah. I think I'll start with kind of like a quick high level thought. Actually, is like you have to be playing with shit in crypto, right? Like, and you have to be a student of what's going on at all times. Like I think Zcash like rewarded people
Yes.
for understanding the history and philosophy and like the initial reasons for like why the cypherpunks were into Bitcoin. Like the quicker you could find like a reference for like cypherpunk culture in your heart, right? The quicker you could get long on Zcash. Airdrops is like that. The quicker you can get to like new projects that nobody's playing with yet, like the quicker and the better you get paid on those things. So I think like anytime I see anything new in crypto, like catching even a little bit of motion, I'm throwing money at it, right? And like obviously like you don't always walk away with like a profit there. Sometimes you just burn 100, 200, 1,000, however many dollars to like learn that this isn't the thing. But like the opportunity cost in crypto of like not catching the thing of like, oh, I just didn't play with it. I didn't understand prediction markets. It didn't make sense to me. Like that's in my experience, that's not the winning strategy. So, like Polymarket has been catching just like a ton of motion. Like everybody's tweeting about it. Um, Obviously, like we're super happy to be like partnered with them. So I was like, time to like just get deep into it. And it's a shit ton of fun, honestly. Like the these prediction markets are so unlike anything else in crypto, and like that honestly just has made me love them kind of even more because like okay, now there's edge, right? Like trading like meme coin mania, like even before whiff ran and people were like, oh, I've seen Doge from way back when. I'm out on all of this stuff, or the AI agents, I'm out on all this stuff, right? Like it's definitely still early is kind of like the takeaway that I have. And like now's the time to like be putting in the reps. So I've just been obsessed with like trading every type of poly market, like Bitcoin up down, political markets, sports markets, culture markets, like the war against Russia market that I got rugged on. Like you name it, and like I'm in it.
I will say it's a jazzism, which I I should jazz, so I should like be on payroll the way that I talk about jazz. But good new thing, enjoyer and participant is the most profitable strategy in crypto by far.
Oh,
Like that is
always.
by far being like being early is a lot easier than being right, you know? And the
Yeah.
good new thing enjoyer is that is where you want to be. I think that's one of the reasons actually our stream is successful is that we have edge because we interview so many people that you're sort of guaranteed to be relatively early to good new thing or at least know that it exists. That's why we call it Zcash, right? It's like I would on my normal day to day I would have been this is stupid, it's an old coin, everybody hates it, da da da. I would not have actually put in the reps to understand like what's going on and catch that like first move up. So good new thing enjoyer is like something I think people should pride themselves on trying everything. That's how you would have caught friend tech in the early days. That's how you would have caught pump fun in the early days. That's how you catch everything is being good new thing participant, trier, enjoyer. Are you profitable right now on Polymarket?
Finally. Yeah. It took me I had a little bit of beginner's luck, and then I think I dug myself into the hole for about 2 or 3 weeks. Everybody can see my Polymarket portfolio. I'm trying to do this all in public. It's
Mhm.
just Tulip King on Polymarket. You'll find my portfolio. And that I think honestly was just like you have to like learn how to trade these things, and so I was just willing to like take the losses and like basically like message somebody like, hey, I'm playing with I got burnt on this. What do you think? Oh, well, I'm taking this bet and like here's my reasons. And then like arguing it like crazy, like the Google Gemini one, right? Like I basically had this long strung thesis that like because the Google Gemini like release date was basically leaked, I was like, oh, Google's actually gonna pivot and they're gonna move the date to like avoid accusations. And I was like, I was trying to like 4D chess like the markets, but I was wrong on that. And like that taught me, okay, maybe don't 4D chess these markets so much. Like sometimes you actually are just handed like a high conviction position, like have a preference to buy with the markets, right? Like when should you bet with the market? When should you bet against it? Like you have to like be constantly taking notes, I think, like as you get into like poly market and like start to learn.
Do you think this is like prediction market trading is gonna like okay? There's a lot of people that are comparing it to the new meme coins. Do you think that framing is wrong?
Yeah. Yeah. I am massively bullish on prediction markets. I think it's a structural like addition to markets. And perhaps the way to look at it um is like what a prediction market is, what poly market is it's a financial primitive, right? Like it allows you to create markets, post price discovery on top of those markets, and then settle and like resolve the conditional of like the options contract, essentially, right? What's interesting about that is when you have that base primitive, you get a lot of other stuff for free. So if I can settle a yes no market, I can do all of sports betting. I can say yes no yards, yes no receptions, yes no winner with spread, right? So like by building that infra, I get sports betting. By building that infra, you get political betting, right? By building that infra, you get options contracts, right? Like Bitcoin above below this price at this time, right? By building that infra, you get insurance markets, right? Is this disastrous event going to happen? And like you're basically just paying a premium on that and somebody else is taking the other side. So like when you start to look at poly market as like the underlying infrastructure of binary outcomes or tertiary, right? Like you can have these things resolved to multiple states, but like when you look at poly market as a resolution machine for these things, and then you start to realize how many other financial instruments are just wrappers on top of binary outcomes, you start to see that I don't even think poly market is like competing with the sports books. I think it just is completely superseding them, right? And so like the analogy I've been using is like DraftKings or like Prize Picks or whatever. Those are like the calculator, right? And like Polymarket's the iPhone. Like you just get the calculator for free. And the insurance markets are Instagram. And the prediction and like political markets are the camera, right? Like it's just all there. It's just completely new. You've completely superseded the need for all of these other types of markets. And then there's like a whole nother layer of implications like beyond that even.
The calculator iPhone thing is lit. I love that. That's a clip. You know what the problem I've run into in my own personal trading is that I think they're incredible for news. Really, really good for news.
Yeah.
Like what's gonna happen, when's it gonna happen, how serious is it gonna happen? It's better than any news outlet because it's capitalistically unbiased. The problem I've run into is knowing what to trade. And I feel like often I'm looking at these prediction markets. I bet on I'm up a little bit on Fed chair. When will Trump nominate Hassett as the next Fed chair? But I'm just like reading headlines. I just read headlines and fired. Like I didn't have a thesis on Elon buybacks, on pump fund, and like consumer on-chain volume and usage going up. Like I think this is the shared consensus problem from most crypto people is like I don't know what the fuck to bet on.
Yeah. Yeah. I think like just the platforms probably need to work on like discoverability. Like I think the end state
Valid.
of like a an incredibly interesting end state of Polymarket, and I don't mean this in a terrible way, but as like a YouTube or a TikTok recommendation algorithm, because it's become clear that there's going to be tens of thousands of hundreds of thousands of millions of markets. So how do they actually surface like markets that are relevant to any particular user, right? I actually would kind of like if my YouTube algorithm some way bled into like a poly market algorithm that said, here's 20 markets you might be interested in, because it's based off of stuff I consume a lot. Like I like love semiconductors, like CPUs, GPUs, and stuff like that. Like if there was a bunch of markets about like AMD, Nvidia, Intel earnings, but also like, are they going to release this new chipset on time? What's the like memory connection bandwidth on like new HBM chips from like AMD and stuff? Like I watch YouTube videos about that stuff all day. I would love it if there was just a recommendation that, hey, you might have a perspective on these markets. So I think that like what markets should I trade is something that kind of needs to be solved by the actual platforms themselves. But then the other thing is like, again, it's just so different than meme coins. And what I mean by that is like you get on Twitter, and if you're a meme coin trader, your perspective is essentially that you're just a touch early to what's funny. You're a touch early to the culture. So your day-to-day routine of like scrolling Twitter is the same, and then you just snipe the meme coin that comes your way, right? Versus like these prediction markets, which cover so many different things, they're touching like different parts of your brain and like different parts of your knowledge sphere. So like you have to kind of be open to the perspective of like there might be a moment where there's like 50 markets that I resonate with and I have positions in all of them. And there might be a moment where there's two markets that I resonate and I only have positions in those two, right? Like don't be, I think for the sake of learning, people should actually kind of be on these pretty aggressively. But as you feel yourself getting over the learning curve and into the comfort curve, it's probably better to like be more picky. Don't necessarily rush into a poly market. Like I have a ton of positions open right now, but I haven't opened any new positions like that many recently because we're at the end of the year. A lot of markets go through the end of the year. I kind of have the positions I want through there. And I'm like kind of excited for January, like when a bunch of new markets roll out. I'm like, oh, what am I gonna like? What do I think of these things? So it's different. Like there's not a single information feed that you just directly like, oh, I saw this thing, check deck screener, right? Like you need to like be more patient and more like browser oriented.
I got lost after you said I love semiconductors. I watch videos on that all day. That's awesome. I
Dude,
love
I'll
that
send
you
you
love
some.
that, dude.
We'll get everybody watching them. They're good.
You should send me some YouTubers that are make the best semiconductor videos. Like I know you pay a lot of attention to who else is trading and what they're trading. How are these people winning? And like what strategies are they deploying?
Yeah. Yeah, there's a lot of interesting strategies, and I think it really depends on like the markets. Like the other thing is like, again, like meme coins are all kind of the same. Like Pepe goes up for the same reasons, WIF goes up for the same reasons, Bonk. Is there excess capital? What's capturing mind share, right? But like sports markets trade based on like the probabilities of a game versus mentions markets. So I think like the first thing to realize is like there's no such thing as like a here's my strategy for like all of poly market, right? Like it's more so like
Yeah, I see. I
I'm a
see.
sharp. It's like I'm a sharp at sports betting, so I get in on all of these sports markets. Or like some accounts will love mentions markets, and so what they'll do is like they have a bunch of tooling that will pull transcripts from like
They're
historical
good,
Trump
dude.
speeches, and then they'll like run like LLMs on top of those and be like, okay, based on like past transcripts and current news events, like what should like my probability spread on like the mention market for this upcoming speech be? And for me, like, I kind of like some of the macro like political hot takes. So that's more so I just like kind of read the news. And I just kind of bet how I think these things will resolve. Um, then you also have to consider like liquidity and time frame on these markets. So, the more highly traded a market is, just the more likely it is to be correct. So it's one thing to bet against the odds on like 100K volume market. It's another thing to bet against the odds on like a 20 mil volume market. Like the 20 mil one is just sharper. Also, like the closer something is to happening, the more likely somebody with knowledge of the event has like stepped into the market, right? Or just the more
Yeah, I
certain the
see. I
outcome
see. I see. I
becomes.
see.
So, I'm pretty reluctant to bet against markets on like short time horizons. So, the number one strategy is called bonding, where it's essentially you're buying stuff at like 95, 96, 98. 95 is probably like where people would draw off like what's a bond, right? And the thinking there is that structurally there's an unnatural sell pressure in these markets. So if I buy something at 20% and it gets up to 98% and there's a day left, I'm probably just going to close my position actually, because that last 2% isn't worth the like black swan risk to me because I've already made my gains, right? But I still kind of believe it's going to 100%. So despite my personal belief that it's going to 100%, I'm a seller at 98%. So the very top sliver of these like close to resolution order books is like unnaturally low. So a very common strategies. People love to just buy stuff that's at 95% and resolving in a day, 99% and resolving in a day, 1% yield, 1% yield, 1% yield, right? And you just that's how you get these P&L charts on these poly market traders that just look like they've been painted. They're just beautiful, right? So that's probably like the number one strategy
So like
is
big
like
pour
bonding.
and just spamming these like about
Yeah.
to
It is
resolve.
hard though, right? Because like the black swan risk there is real, right?
Brutal.
Like you need to put in a lot of money to make it worth it, right? So like, but if something goes against your way, like the government shutdown, a ton of people were
I
like
got cooked on
positioned
that.
the wrong way. Right. So I sold. I was one of those people who was an unnatural seller, kind of at the top of that market, because I was like, okay, we're a day away. I caught my gains. I'm out. Um, so you need to get good at like position sizing. But the good thing is because these are all like probabilities, right? You can actually just read a textbook. Like you can literally go read about like Kelly betting and like different portfolio theories for how to measure like how much of your capital you should put into a position based on like risk to return ratios. And you can start to construct like what you think is like a mathematically like optimal strategy for like playing these bonded markets. So I think if you're going to do that, like um focus on getting good at position sizing really is probably like the winning strategy for bonding is being good at position
Do you have a
sizing.
position on Fed decision in December?
I
92%.
Yeah, I bought that low on the 25 bips cut.
I bought it low too.
And
We
then I
sold. We made
sold.
money on this.
Yeah. Yeah. We bought in low. Good,
It's actually
counterparty
my
stays
best trade
winning.
ever on Polymarket. Was this trade?
Oh, and we're gonna keep winning.
I think I made 5K on this.
We've got
Yeah.
some good. Hell yeah. I think that one spooks me because I think the Fed hasn't cut as much as people want the Fed to cut. And my kind of long-term perspective has been that there's actually a lot of political pressure on the Fed to not cut rates. And what I mean by that is, COVID happens, everybody does all the stimulus, right? And then you get inflation. And then what was the unique characteristic of the election cycle after the COVID inflation? If you were far left and there was inflation, you lost re-election. If you were far right and there was inflation, you lost
Lost.
re-election. If you were a centrist and there was inflation, you lost re-election, right? So no matter what your policies are, if there's inflation, there's a way higher chance than normal that you don't get reelected. So why does every politician right now, cost of living, Zoran, cost of living, Trump? I mean, this is the thing they both agree on. Eggs are too high, rent is too high, right? So actually, I think the political pressure that's not said on CNBC or like any of the money channels, I'm pretty sure like almost every politician and their mother is calling the Fed saying, don't fucking cut rates. Because if you cut rates and there's inflation, I'm out. So what happens is Trump is a real estate guy and a political anomaly. So he says we're going to take rates to
Political
zero.
anomaly.
But the fact that they haven't gone to zero tells you that there's actually conversations happening in private that you're not privy to. And these are the political motivations of those conversations. I mean, think about it. He like fired the one Fed chair. He's threatened to fire Powell like 6 or 7 times now or whatever, and they still haven't cut rates. So, I think rates could go down. I doubt they go down as far as people expect. I actually think there's a huge amount of pressure to keep rates high.
There's a couple other ones that have big volume, like well, Bitcoin hit 120K in 2025. 95% no. Kind of a scary one though.
Yeah. Yeah, that one's hard. I think I'm with Taiki. like the time to be buying puts like through Polymarket was when he opened the ETH short. So I opened up I had basically a bunch of shorts on like Hyperliquid and some other tokens where I bought like as soon as the market got bad, I bought a bunch of like this won't hit all-time high, this won't hit this price, this will dip to this price. And then I have a bunch of like no positions and like will this project TGE
Yeah, yeah.
because market gets bad and I bet a lot of projects that have signaled an end of year TGE are now like maybe not. So I think like that's an instance where like you can bet against consensus if you diversify the portfolio. So if there's 20 markets for TGE and I bet, and say all of them are like likely yeses, and I bet no on one of them, that will kind of probably screw me over. But if I have a broad perspective that just in general, more projects will not TGE than had been perceived, then I bet no in all of them, right? And I take a couple losses, but the ones where I actually turn out to be correct were low probability events that supersize my returns,
Yeah, yeah,
right?
yeah.
So that's like I'm not betting against any particular market because Polymarket is really sharp and it will probably be right on most of those. But on the couple it's not right, my payouts make out for the loss, right? So that's like thinking about like structuring a perspective through multiple positions.
There's also some like interesting markets. Like, okay, one that I'm looking at is lighter, and so it's two. Will they airdrop by December 31st? And then what will the market cap be on TGE, assuming it airdrops by December 31st? So will it airdrop by December 31st? Is 85% chance yes. And then will it be over 1 billion? Is 75%. So there's like minimum 10% delta in that right there. Over 2 billion is 70%, over 3 billion is 60. It's like if it TGEs, it's gonna be over. I mean, they're doing more volume than Hyperliquid right now. They're bigger than Hyperliquid right now. It's gonna be over $1 billion. There's like 10%
Right.
in that right alone, right? You might as well just take yes and over 1 billion rather than just take yes, right?
Well, the way to structure that, if you want like a hedged bet, is you assume that if they airdrop, it will be over $1 billion.
And they
So
they
you
just raised it
buy,
1.1 billion. It's like, yeah, the FDV is going to be fucking higher than that.
right, right. So you buy, yes, it will be over $1 billion on airdrop or on TGE. But then on the other market, will they TGE? You buy no. And then so your total cost of that is like if you buy yes over $1 billion at like 75%, and then you buy no airdrop at like 10%, you basically spent 85 cents, right? And then if one of those is true,
To make
you get
15.
the dollar, right? So you basically like you
How do
kind
you
of
lose that trade? Is that a
expect,
can't lose trade?
well, if they TGE and are below
Yeah,
a
you
billion,
lose.
you
You
lose.
double lose.
Right. So it's basically like when you do those, you create like a grid of outcomes essentially. So like one position that I had was like I had, and I still have this position right now. It's no Hyperliquid airdrop and yes, Hyperliquid dips to 20 within this year. So the thesis was essentially like one, I think it can hit 20 without doing an airdrop, but everybody's concerned about the token
Yeah, 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 yeah,
unlocks.
yeah, yeah,
So
yeah,
the
yeah, yeah,
last
yeah.
thing Hyperliquid is going to do
It's an
is
airdrop.
like introduce new
New
token
tokens.
supply. And if they do that, it will crash the price. So if they airdrop and I'm wrong about that, but that I'm right that that new supply crashes the price, I get paid out on that other leg. So my like super win condition is essentially no airdrop hits 20. My medium win conditions are airdrop hits 20 or hits 20 no airdrop, and then I only lose if they manage to do an airdrop without dipping to $20. So you basically, in all of those different outcomes, like they have the probabilities and the returns on them. And that's another scenario where like I'm actually not even really betting on the chances of an airdrop or the chances of the price dip. I'm betting that these two markets relative to each other are mispriced, right? So that's like arbitrage is the wrong word, but it's like betting on cross market correlations. I think that's wide open territory. And like very few people are like betting with the level of intellect there that they should be.
Huh. So like I should trade this once we get off stream. I'm gonna trade this lighter thing.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Send me the. I'll tell you what strikes to buy at. But
Let's
yeah,
trade this. Yeah, this is a sick one.
yeah. And the thing to think there is like when you have those cross markets, you basically like you want the total odds to be under $1 because you expect one of them to hit,
one to hit
right?
one
So
dollar.
like
Yeah, total.
right.
Got it.
So if you're buying above a billion at like 75, then basically you need no airdrop to be below 25. Because if you pay like $1 a penny, then you need both markets to
So
hit.
I could do
But if you pay
no.
99 cents,
I could do no at 16 and then yes at 75. That leaves us with 9.
yeah, yeah, because that puts you at 91. So you basically paid 91 and you only need one of those to hit to make $1, right? So you've basically bought like a 99 position synthetically.
At 91.
Or 91, sorry, you've bought a 91 position synthetically, yeah.
Whoa. That's
And that is why poly market is actually going to just eat all other financial assets
I probably
alive.
just fucked the
Because when
trade,
you
by the way. Someone in the chat, Cyrus is in the chat. The bros are about to close the
like
spread.
if
The
you,
only trade I have on Poly. I probably
yeah,
just fucked it, right?
if you guys get in on this, then send me some
There's
love.
not
But
enough volume. There's not enough liquidity. My bad, Cyrus. You better.
that's a challenge, yeah. It is. You need to use limit orders. You need to be patient.
Nah,
That's
they're gonna
actually been the
fuck me
hardest
on
thing.
this, dude. I should have done it. I just like was thinking about it live. I wasn't even fucking.
Mhm. Yeah,
Wow.
the hardest thing has honestly been like a lot of these cross market opportunities. You kind of need both markets to be liquid because you need to position in both. So like it's been hard. Like you can it's hard to get a lot of money in those, and I've had to like wait and like just have a limit order sitting and move them around a little bit. But I think like the markets will just get more liquid over time. Like I'm not really worried about that at all. So I'm just building the skill set, right? Such that when the markets do become more liquid, I can do this even more easily. But again, this is why poly market will win. Because when you really think about like a stock price, it's incredibly imprecise, right? On one hand, the beauty of a stock price is everybody has all of these opinions and they're buying and selling the stock with those opinions, right? But the problem is then the opinions are lost. So the price of the stock doesn't actually mean anything anymore. So like for example, like Nvidia, right? Like uh, if you're a quant at JPM, right? And my whole job this quarter, like Nvidia is Atlas holding up the world. My whole job this quarter is to figure out if they're going to beat earnings. Like, what are their earnings going to be? And I spend months. I figure it out. I know I'm right. I've got this. Well, fuck. Are they going to beat earnings by enough? Like, what's the market response to that? I can't just bet on earnings, unfortunately, right? Because the stock price itself is actually such a crude instrument because it's so imprecise, right? But that same JPM analyst can get into the poly market for NVIDIA earnings and just express exactly what they say, right? So, like, prediction markets allow you to construct completely novel, high specificity viewpoints in the market. So, they're actually like this combination of markets is the highest signal information I think that we've ever really seen like a market have, where I'm not long short hyperliquid. I'm long short hyperliquid contingent on an airdrop.
Yeah,
That
yeah,
just
like
doesn't exist on other
more
markets, right?
precise.
You could be long short Apple stock contingent on like their sales numbers on AirPods or their sales numbers on Apple TV.
Not
And
the
then
whole
your
thing.
perspective is right. Then your perspective is Apple will go up if they've shown they can grow services revenue. But if they can't grow services revenue, I think that narrative is actually driving the stock so it'll go down, right? Like you're evolving the mindset. So it's just like it's going to eat everything.
Okay, give me one more poly market take, and then I want to talk about crypto. And
Well, the other take is not even necessarily a take. It's more so like, well, you tell me what's more interesting. I have a take on like, is it gambling or not? And then I have a take on like bounty markets.
I was gonna ask you why DraftKings is going to zero. Give me the bounty market take.
The bounty market take is super interesting. Like this has to do with the throwing the dildos on the WNBA court or like Brian Armstrong like saying everything in the earnings call. the way to think of it in that context is like the prediction market actually facilitated the bounty for making the event happen. So what the prediction market, like for Brian Armstrong saying these words, right? It's not telling you what the chance he'll say these words are, right? It's telling you if he says these words, what's that worth, right?
Uh,
So if you're the guy writing his script, you might sneak something in there or cut something from there, right? If you're him, you might say it, right? And so actually, like, because the prediction market is an economic engine that creates incentive, it has an impact on the event. So they actually balance back and forth. Or like the WNBA example, that's an outcome that's extremely asymmetrical. There's 20,000 people who can throw something on a basketball court. And there's what, 20 people who can try to stop that from happening in the building, right? So the probability is like it's asymmetrically in the favor of people, throwing something on the court. But the market should actually start to price that in. So I'm not going to be able to get away with it, right? What the market will do is like, okay, say throwing it on the court costs me $20,000 in legal fees and a lifetime ban. So my total personal cost is $40,000 is what I assess, right? I need to be able to make more than $40,000 by taking the position and throwing it in there. But the market can price that in. So actually what the market settles to is the equilibria. The market finds here's the strike price of making this event happen. It's essentially created a bounty for making things happen, right? And that extends beyond even like silly little things like basketball games and earnings calls. It extends to like political markets, right? This is like an example I have in an article I wrote is like, if I have a 0.5% chance of becoming the mayor and I buy like a $5,000 position in that, my payout is $1 million. So I can buy 20 $5,000 positions and then I can hire 20 people and say, you now own these shares in the market. And if we can get me elected, these will pay out $1 million. So I bootstrapped my campaign using $100,000 with potentially $20 million worth of payout. And think to yourself, I could probably make some progress politically with 20 real killers on my team, right? So actually the market is financing what's the value of making something unexpected happen right now, right? So like you can create joint ventures. So the same way, and again, this is why Polymarket is actually such a beautiful financial instrument. This is actually how stocks started, right? Where like the original like equity structure was people financing like voyages and expeditions, right? And that financial venture only existed for the duration of the voyage, right? So like you would basically put money down to fund the voyage and whatever spoils they brought back you'd get a share of. So actually the origin of like a limited liability venture is a time duration thing, just like a poly market where I say we're creating a temporary company. If us cohort of people can make this thing happen, here's our payout. And if we can't, here's the amount of money we put down for that chance. So you're actually going back to the days of like the original voyages and like East India Trading Company, right? Like this is actually a financial primitive that we've seen before. It's just on chain now. It's fascinating.
By the way, I don't know what the fuck happened to the Discord camera why it's doing that, but I fixed it on the overlay. That was one of the sickest examples I've actually ever heard. The mayoral thing. It's like
Yeah.
you basically just like give a bunch of option calls to all your
Yes.
employees. If you can get us paid,
Yes.
if you can get me as the mayor, you can make $1 million. That's crazy.
Mhm. Yeah. And there's one for threadguy. So there's like the will threadguy hit all-time high mind share, right? Like now I'm just shilling to you for company ideas here, right? But like what if, we were to take a position in that and it's like, oh, if we as a team, like we're long threadguy, right? Like we're long your mind share going up. And like if we pull that off, we don't need a sponsor to pay us. We don't need chat to pay us. The market pays us, right? On making something we want to have happen, right? So like it's just the possibilities are so interesting.
All right. The problem is it doesn't have enough volume. Dude, by the
Yeah,
way,
yeah.
odds of
Work in
me hitting
progress.
it
Work in
are really
progress.
high.
Yeah, dude, they must have heard Tulip King joined, and they're like, oh,
Dude, they're like
good chances.
stupidly high on me winning. Buy yes at 83.
See, I bought yes at 15 cents. I
You
was
buy
earlier than
yes?
that. Dude, of course. What do you mean? I'm betting on myself. I knew I could make it happen.
Can I ask you a question? When do you
Yeah.
like? Because we have the same amount of time in the day, and at this point, we spend a lot of time on the phone. I'd probably talk to you for a couple hours a day. When do you do all this thinking? Like, how are you doing this?
I'm just like always thinking. I don't know. Like I like walks. I like vibing. I like to just, I'm a chill guy. But no, I just like to I just like to think. I'm obsessed with all of this, like all of crypto, all the coordination mechanism, the future we're building. What are the implications of all of this stuff? Um, so I just am never not thinking about it, I guess would be my answer.
Okay. Do you want to talk about some crypto stuff?
Yeah.
Chat, do you want to hear some crypto takes? Wait, can I put you on the waiting thing for like 30? I'm gonna put the Phantom at down for 30. I
Yeah.
have to pee
Yeah.
really
Yeah.
bad, dude. I'm back in 30 seconds.
Yeah.
All right, be. There it is. And boom. All right, we're back. Sorry, chat. All right. All right. Um, I want to start with a tweet. Okay.
Let's do it.
I'm gonna start with a tweet. Cold blooded chiller tweeted this at 3:52 a.m. Stop thinking late. This year, 2025, gold plus 60%, best year since the 1970s. Silver plus 104%, best year since the 1970s. Nasdaq plus 20%, SPX plus 16%, and enter BTC minus 7%, and Ether minus 25%. And to that, you say,
It's been a tough year. To that, I say it has definitely been like the worst cycle like that we've ever had in crypto. Just literally by the numbers, right? Like we went over this yesterday's stream, so everybody, watch the VOD if you haven't or whatever. But like, Bitcoin underperformed gold, the benchmark, right? And like altcoins didn't even set like a new all-time high without stable coins. So it has been the worst market ever. But like the phrase I'm just going to keep hammering home is like nobody said it was going to be easy, right? Like I think you can kind of you can explain both of them, but it's probably worth like Bitcoin I think is in its own narrative with its own reasons, and then like altcoins are in their own narrative with their own reasons too.
it's been brutal, dude. So what do you think happens from here? Maybe even more broadly, like what is your general view on where we are, why we're there, and what happens?
Yeah, I think on the uh, on the Bitcoin side, do we have screen share running? How? Let's see here. Do we have that?
You could share.
Okay. Let me try to pull something up real fast then, because I think there's a chart that everybody kind of needs to like process for a little bit. Okay, here we go.
Also, real quick, chat. If you're watching on Twitter, you want to chat, twitch.tv/threadguy. It's the only place we chat. Also, Flood's in the chat, and he really wants your hype bear thesis. But we can make him wait.
All right. I can give him the hype bear thesis. Okay, never mind. I'd have to restart Discord to get the share going. But I think like if you look at like the chart, like just a table of the largest assets in the world, I'll read it off here. There's gold at 30 trillion, basically. Nvidia at 4.4, Apple at 4.2, Alphabet, Microsoft, silver, Amazon. Number 8 is Bitcoin at 1.8 trillion. So everybody should wake up for a second. We are in the major leagues, right? Nobody cares about your friends buying Bitcoin. Nobody cares about hedge funds buying Bitcoin. I don't care if Multicoin is buying Bitcoin. I kind of don't even care if Sailor's buying Bitcoin. Like, look at the chart. Like, he's not really moving that thing anymore, right? When you're in like the top 10 assets in the planet, you are officially in the major leagues, right? Like, the last game in town is the sovereigns, right? We've already got into BlackRock, right? We're one of the largest BlackRock ETFs. They're already making like the most fees off of it. They've already like added it to their model portfolio. Like, we've already done the institutional adoption curve, right? We need sovereign nations now. And I think the timing just beat us, right? So Russia invades Ukraine and they freeze all of the reserves, all of Russia's like foreign asset reserves, right? If you're another country at that moment, you're thinking, oh shit, I don't really like this whole dollar exposure thing anymore,
Yeah.
right? So you're thinking, okay, the entire system has basically been the US buys all of our shit and then it shoves treasuries down our throats, has basically been how it's been. But we've been kind of happy to do that because like the US is in charge. But they're starting to flex their power a little bit. China's ascendant. Russia seems to be holding its own against like the support system of NATO. I'm not really sold on like perpetual allegiance to the US anymore. So now we're in the position where the sovereigns are like marginal sellers of dollars and treasuries for another reserve asset. The problem is size, right? Like, you can't sell trillions of dollars of reserve assets into Bitcoin when it's only $2 trillion. It's simply too small. Like this, it'd be like aping a like micro cap shitter, right? Like, you're just going to lose it all on slippage. So pretty much at this moment in time, when the sovereigns needed to move away from dollars and still are, the only thing they could buy was gold. It was the only asset large enough to absorb that large of inflows, right? And then gold has other advantages like it's private, it's quantum resistant, the central banks are more comfortable with it, right? Like, nobody wants to be a hero. But like, end of the day, like, we're in the major leagues, like we're competing with gold, which has been the greatest asset in all of human history, right? Like, it was kind of inevitable that there would be a cycle where we underperform gold, right? Like, it wasn't going to be as easy as every 4 years, here's your up only chart, you know? So I think it's okay that we underperformed gold. But I think like we kind of need the world to develop more, and we need more like smaller nations essentially kind of like buying Bitcoin and lifting up the boat. Like, El Salvador is a small enough economy to like store reserves in Bitcoin. That bids it up a little bit, right? And then maybe you get some more Latin American countries, and then you get some of the African countries. Then you start to get some of the smaller Asian countries, right? Like, you get Thailand, you get Myanmar, you get Singapore, right? And you basically like stack your way up the chart. It's just going to take time though. Like, I think we have multiple cycles ahead of us still.
What do you think it's gonna take for that to start?
Yeah. So my forward-looking catalyst here is stable coins, where I think this is kind of like Arthur Hayes, Luke Groman. I think everybody's kind of at like the same thesis here, essentially, where if if the sovereigns are not buying our treasuries, so the sovereigns are not buying our debt anymore, well, the US kind of loves having a lot of debt. Like we need somebody to buy this debt so rates don't rise and so we don't have a death spiral, right? God bless stablecoins because stablecoins buy treasuries and then issue dollars on a near one-to-one basis, right? So I don't know what like the fractional reserve banking like ratios are, but I can buy like a dollar worth of treasuries and I can loan out more than a dollar as a bank. But the Genius Act says if you buy a dollar worth of treasuries, you can only issue a dollar worth of stablecoin. So it's less capital efficient, which is actually what the government wants because they want the buyers of their debt to be capital inefficient such that they have to buy a lot of that debt, right? So I think like basically the government is going to like shove stablecoins down every bank's throats. Like the private sector seems to kind of be doing it of their own volition, right? But I think the government is going to really, really push to actually make stablecoins very broadly adopted. And I can see it hitting $5-10 trillion worth of stablecoins in some amount of time. My bet is that those surplus stablecoins then get cycled into Bitcoin, and that's our catalyst. So the biggest thing I'm looking at for Bitcoin is like the acceleration of stablecoin issuance. I think the number right now of like 300 billion is like really disappointing and really small, right? Like Larry Fink is talking about like everybody and your mother is talking about stablecoins. We don't even have 1 trillion of them yet. Like, what a joke.
306 billion.
So yeah, that's nothing, right? Like, so I think what I'm kind of looking for is the stablecoin supply to pass $1-3 trillion on an accelerating curve. That's really when I think you see Bitcoin start to like get bid up higher. And then as Bitcoin gets bid up higher, larger and larger sovereigns can like now come in and custody it and buy into the Bitcoin reserve system without like eating a ton of slippage. So really, I think it's going to come down to stable coins.
So, okay, I want to take on how you're positioned, and then I want to talk about hyperliquid bear case, then we can like work backwards. But give me a take, even for the chat. Like, how are you positioned? What's risk on? What's risk off? And what are you looking to position in or position out of?
Yeah. So right now I'm probably like, well, Zcash is now down. I'm probably somewhere around like 85% Bitcoin, 15% Zcash. I think you actually need to use
How much
Zcash to
cash?
hedge Bitcoin now. Oh no, never cash, zero cash.
Zero cash.
Yeah. I mean, other than my Polymarket account, I guess. Like I'm like 85% Bitcoin, 15% Zcash, and then my Polymarket account is actually all leverage. So I've borrowed against all of that because again, you know, I love crypto and I'm still using the same strategy I kind of talked about last time on here. So I you know, I'm about 120, 30 something percent like of my net worth is in crypto as always. I love this shit. But yeah, so I'm 85% Bitcoin, 15% Zcash, and then I don't know, 20, 30, 40, maybe less, maybe 10% in Polymarket.
The Polymarket's all leverage. And that's it. No alts.
It's good. My P&L is up. I'm a good trader, so yeah, we're up so far.
So, but if Bitcoin just gets cut in half and everything else gets cut down 90%, you just have no capital to like bid anything.
Yeah, I guess so. But you know, I have, you know, we have coins circulating around. I can move money around as needed to kind of keep flexibility if something comes up. I can always get creative. But I don't recommend other people do this, right? Like it's definitely like a me strategy.
You have a counterparty salary. That works.
Yeah. If this all goes to zero, I'm crashing on your couch. Grab that wherever that Monad plushie is. I'm gonna cuddle with it and cry myself to sleep.
Okay. Do you have any plan to not be 100% all in? Like, at what point do you?
Yeah, I think like when Bitcoin wins, right? Like this is actually the kind of beauty of having an absolutely delusional like long-term view, right? Like I know Bitcoin is going to win, right? Every trend of like governments technology, social coordination, everything tells me that Bitcoin is going to win, which means I can actually just be maximally long until it wins. I don't see any point of like not holding like what is going to completely like rewrite like the social contract, right? Like when Bitcoin becomes money, we will have separated money from the state the same way we separated religion from the state and rewrote the social contract. We're going to separate money from the state and rewrite the social contract. Like it's crazy to me anybody who can be in crypto and not have at least some amount of like Bitcoin long, right? Like that's it. Like if Bitcoin wins, we're golden. If Bitcoin doesn't win, all my crypto was going to zero anyways.
Does any part of you feel like Bitcoin's won enough and then the RR is marginal from this point? A lot of people feel this way, dude.
No, I you'll know Bitcoin has won like when society is like different, right? Like the win condition for Bitcoin is essentially like flipping the dollar, right? So like whatever M2 is, whatever M3 is, pick your favorite like M money supply measure, right? Like when there's more outstanding value of Bitcoin than there is dollars to buy Bitcoin, that's probably like when we've won, right? So that I think according to that, there's still like 100x left.
You're kind of a lunatic, dude. This is why I got off the I got off the stream. I was like, Malcolm, we need to hire him right now. I need to hire him today. Oh, okay. Well, let's do this. Let's jump ahead, and then I want to jump backwards. Give me your Hyperliquid bear thesis.
Yeah. I get a lot of flack for this, so I'll preface with saying like I like Hyperliquid. It is a
stand on it, bro.
It's no, I do.
Stand on this shit.
Don't worry, I'm gonna get pretty bearish here, but like everybody's right that like Hyperliquid is a great product that makes a lot of money. Jeff and the team are awesome. The way they like push value back to token holders is awesome. Like it's great. Like vibes are immaculate, right? The unfortunate reality is like I just think DeFi is cooked, right? Like crypto is like open, permissionless, instantly settling assets, right, on like distributed networks, right? And the other thing is like we've already seen how easy it is to create new networks, right? So like there's also no network effects, right? Like sure, Ethereum can lock in a bunch of capital, but then Solana can bootstrap with the Solana token, and it's just nipping at Ethereum. It's not like Solana's flipping Ethereum, but the existence of Solana is 100% suppressing the price of Ethereum, right? And then Solana's like, we're going to be on-chain NASDAQ. We're going to be the on-chain everything exchange. And then, fuck. Jeff comes along with his little server, right? We all VPN into it. We all trade shitcoins. And now there's Hyperliquid just nipping away at Solana. Because like, well, I thought Solana was everything exchange. What's going on with Hyperliquid? How have they bootstrapped? With the points program, with the token, right? It feels a little bold to say, that's it. This is the last one. Nobody's ever going to bootstrap another perps exchange. Nobody's ever going to bootstrap another DeFi primitive using tokenomics, right? Like that doesn't seem like a very realistic conclusion to me. So the conclusion you do reach is like, oh my God, okay, crypto works. Tokens have solved the cold start problem, which means you can always spin up a competitor. And once I've spun up a competitor, all of the money in my like current competitor is a bearer asset that settles instantly. Click, there goes all my funds.
So,
right? This is what happened to DYDX. This is what happened to synthetics, right? Like that's where all the money was. That's where all the volume was. That's where all the users were. That's where the most liquidity was. That's where the market makers were. Where are they now? So like my thesis for Hyperliquid is essentially like they just don't have like a sustainable moat. And then the one thing I will say is like everybody should be insanely happy about this, right? The entire, and this is why like it always pays to be a believer in crypto and like why I'm convinced I'm going to be right and everybody else is going to be wrong, right? Because I actually believe in this shit. Like The whole point of crypto was to make finance free. The whole point of crypto was to democratize all of these financial primitives as base infrastructure of the internet. I don't want to live in a world where your bank makes any money. I want you to just have banking on the internet for free. I don't want to live in a world where Hyperliquid is taking bips off of every swap. I want to live in a world where Hyperliquid is just offering the swap feature for free. Like the best social outcome of crypto, and this is what the cypherpunks wanted, is actually finance just becoming a free human right. So like I think Hyperliquid will go to zero. I think Uniswap will go to zero. I think Ethereum will go to zero. Solana will go to zero. All of these like DeFi plays, these DeFi infrastructure plays that have no moat and haven't shown the ability to actually set new all-time highs. Like the market's already agreeing with me if you're paying enough attention here, right? Like the best thing for society is actually them all going to zero and it just being free to custody, swap, and transact any digital asset you want. Like that's the world I want to live in. And I think we're going to get there.
Okay, I have a couple things, a couple pushbacks. Some of them are flood, some are my own. He's typing some in the chat. Because you know I love Hyperliquid and I love the hype token, and it's the only thing I say I want to buy. To your first argument, it's like I don't think that the argument is sufficient that because somebody else could launch a good token, I am not going to buy like just because the idea, like because token B could exist, I'm not going to buy token A. Like, of course, token B could always exist. Like, there will be Ethereum, then there's Solana, then there's a million other chains. But just, like, the existence of something new and shiny doesn't mean the existing thing is, like, inferior or worse, right? Like, the existence of lighter doesn't invalidate the Hyperliquid thesis. Now, I do think this is a problem in crypto, is the vamp problem has happened many, 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 many times. I always go back and think about OpenSea and the NFT days. But the idea... Like, the idea of something new being able to exist doesn't invalidate the original thesis.
Yeah. So this is where like, you can be practical and like be an operator. Like I've like, longed Hyperliquid a couple of times throughout the cycle because you can think it's going to go up and because they're first and they're early and the competitors aren't ready yet. And like candidly, just because the market like isn't as willing to be as extreme as I am. Right. So like, yeah, I think like, it's not necessarily that everything goes to zero. It's more so these things, in my opinion, have a terminal value of zero because eventually somebody will launch the competitor, right? So when Hyperliquid is the only game in town, when it's ripping fees, when it's crushing it, when it's being an awesome team that gives money back to the token holders who have bet on them and supported them, you should be long, right? But we're at the end of that cycle now, right? Like how, like, a good perps dex isn't like impressive technology anymore, right? Like look at the insane numbers of perps dexes that are coming, and some of them are doing RWAs, some of them are doing stocks. Lighter basically said, "Fuck it, we'll make it free," right? Like you're kind of at the tail end of that, right? Where like I struggle to see what Hyperliquid does to like keep their moat now. So it's not that Hyperliquid wasn't a good trade that shouldn't have been taken. Like it was a good trade that people should have taken. It's just the trade is over now. Same way for like the DEX trade is over now, right?
Okay, there's one more. This is a flood comment. I think it's fair, like sort of philosophical thought of to basically everything DeFi goes to zero. It's like twofold. One, what would secure the network if transactions are free? And two, why would anyone ever build anything if product is free and open source?
Yeah. So a couple things. I think like on the what will secure the network, I think like there will be like a now I'll walk myself up from like the zero price target for all these things to like a grocery store price target. Like I essentially just think these things will be like incredibly thin margins, right? Like whatever resources are required to like operate the network, like secure the network, like keep the updates rolling, right? Like you need to pay people to keep those things happening. Like the protocols can like demand essentially like a maintenance fee and probably with some amount of premium, right? And this is like in the terminal state, right? So, like Aave is a good example, right? Like when you buy Aave token or when you use Aave protocol, you're also relying on that team to like keep the oracles updated and good, and like keep the risk ratios and like the asset listing and selection process good, right? So like Aave offers like a continuously rolling service in DeFi, the same way that like Hyperliquid does. So like zero is like gets you the clip, right? But then like the takeaway is like it'll be closer to grocery store margins, in my opinion, than like real DeFi margins. And then for the like, why would anybody build? Because you can still make money by being first, right? So like I think Pump Fund made what, like $1 gazillion in a couple months. I honestly think what they should have done at that moment, when as it seems they've kind of run out of good ideas, at least for now, right? Like what they should have just done is like, okay, we raised a decent amount of money, but we made gazillions of dollars. We're done. We're going into maintenance mode. People can keep using the product and we'll keep making money from users as they are. If you are an investor in us, here's your share of the profits. It's been a hell of a good adventure with you all, right? And Elon would still walk away with hundreds of millions of dollars. That strikes me as like sufficient financial incentive to do anything, right? So you can still make money in this worldview by being the first to offer a primitive or offer a feature, and candidly like get it while it's good, right? Like you can charge any margin on a product when you're the only one offering that product, contingent upon people wanting to use it, right? And this actually goes back again, like this is why if you're a student of the game, you can kind of see these things. Let's go back to like the joint ventures of like the people going on sailing and polymarket joint ventures that where the company only has a duration of the market time. I think that's where crypto goes, where you actually like kind of have a bounty for yourself or a raise, and you say like, we're going to create this product or service and we're going to be like first to market with this. And before anybody can catch up or beat us, we're going to make money for this window of time. It's just not going to be a perpetual business, right? Like a crypto business makes money for a year or 2 or 6 months, right? And then it winds down, right? And you can do that because your margins on these things, when you are the only game in town, are extreme, right? So think of like forming the companies that don't need to last forever, because that's the historic pattern of company formation anyways, is short-term ventures, right? Then the final note that I'll make again is like, because the smart contracts are like hosted on chain, and in theory there's no opex to like, once I deploy a contract on chain, I don't have to ever spend any money on it, right? You don't actually need there to be a profit incentive. You just need one person for 1 second to be motivated. So like take Uniswap, right? They now have their like fee for the protocol, right? Somebody right now could like launch the Uniswap smart contracts, and they just with 0 fees, and all they need is the motivation and like the personal drive to click the deploy button once. And then once they've launched that, it's out there. It's on chain now. And eventually, on a long enough time horizon, the market would settle to those contracts because they're just cheaper and more efficient, right? So it's kind of like Linux, right? Like once I write the Linux operating system and I post it to GitHub and that code is everywhere, I only needed to be motivated by open source, like freedom fundamentals, up to the point of clicking deploy, right? So it's asymmetric, like throwing things on the WNBA court. You just need one person to be motivated for 1 second to do it.
The one thing about the being early is that you're correct for Pump Fund. Like it was a fundamentally new vertical that didn't exist before. It is true though that Hyperliquid was not the first perp dex.
Yeah, and they managed to
They
just
just like
like
built a better
outcompete
product,
rights.
right?
Right. So the other thing you can do is like just go and build a better product. And actually would say like to anybody in the comments or something, like that is a win condition for Hyperliquid. If they continue to improve the product
Yeah.
and it continues to be better than all of their competitors, right? Then yeah, totally. They'll keep making money, keep going to the token, it'll keep being a good thing. But you have to ask yourself like, okay, how long can they really push the needle on like making perps as good as possible? right? Like their competitors are already coming in with zero fee solutions, right? Like how long can they keep pushing things? But if they can, right? Like they're obviously smarter than me and better at perps than I am, right? Like if they can, the token should keep going up, yeah. But that's good. Again, this is the point I'm making is like this is actually the outcome we all should have wanted, right? Where like you make money in crypto by either A, continuously making your product better than everybody else, or B, making a new product that nobody has ever seen before. There's no such thing as a rent seeking project in crypto. It's too competitive. Money moves too fast. It's too easy to copy. It's too easy to bootstrap. You cannot be a rent seeking primitive in crypto, right? And as soon as the protocol starts to get stale and feel like it's rent seeking, the piranhas are coming. So like that's good. That's better for all of us, right? Hyperliquid will either become free or it'll keep getting better. Great. I'm happy. I just don't need to hold the token.
What do you think? Yeah. What do you think happens when lighter launches?
Um,
Also, what's good with
I think
Vlad?
I don't know. I don't. Which are we talking like Robinhood Vlad?
No, lighter Vlad.
Um,
And like the
I don't know. I
Jeff
don't really keep
cope,
up
like
with
it's a
him.
little like I don't know. It's a little like comes
I
from
don't know.
yeah. Go ahead.
Everybody in crypto is like just slapping at each other. Like again, it's
So
so competitive. Like I don't know what's up with that. I think lighter will probably teach people to stop like fetishizing like market makers. Like one of the most common arguments for hyperliquid is that it's the most liquid, right? Which is like cool and everything. I don't think people realize that like retail comes first, right? Like market makers don't like see a new market and say, let's go make the shit out of this market, right? Market makers see retail trading on a market and then they say, oh, retail is uninformed
mhm.
flow. Let's go make the market on top of retail, right? So actually, like, I don't know the exact splits, but it might be just to make up to prove my point here, right? Like, it might be the case that like 10% of volume on Hyperliquid is retail, and that 90% is market makers, right? But that 90% is entirely contingent on that 10% of retail volume that they're profiting from, right? If that 10% of retail volume goes somewhere else, that 90% of market maker volume is just going to pack up and follow retail, right? Because they make money off of the uninformed flow. This is why even Aster, like having not a lot of users and doing very little volume,
Yeah.
or Lighter or EdgeX or something like that, all you need to do is capture a small amount of retail volume from the existing product, right? To bring the market makers over. And what does retail love? Zero fee trading.
Yeah.
So I think Lighter is like in an incredibly strong position to like vamp a lot of volume from Hyperliquid.
I know a lot of people that are using it. Actually we did use it on stream with Daniel. I used it once. It was really smooth, but I'm still just trading everything on Hyperliquid. It's just so buttery, bro. I don't know.
Me too.
It's
I use
so
Hyperliquid.
buttery,
It's great.
bro. Fuck.
Yeah.
All right. I want to get a couple more takes from you while I still have you. I won't keep you too much longer. Um, on the topic of short long degeneracy and sort of like being short individual games but long the curve broadly, what's the next game? Like what are we waiting for at this point? Like we're kind of in this weird chop intermediary period. We had Zcash, which I'll ask you about Zcash after, but there's kind of like not really that much happening. MetaDAO stuff is like kind of interesting, but there's no like millions being made there. Like, what's the next game in town, in your opinion? And when is it going to come?
Yeah, I don't know. It's hard. Like I think I mean obviously like you know we already talked about it, but like poly market, prediction markets, it's worth remembering that like when Uniswap launched, you know, you got all the pool two farms, you got Yearn, and then you got like Aave and Compound, which rely on being able to liquidate your positions on chain, and then you got like you know, Ohm Forks, you know, staking LP tokens from UniV2 and stuff. So like when UniV2 like established itself as like a dominant liquid market, a bunch of primitives were built on top of it, right? So I do actually think you can kind of expect that with Polymarket. Like as more crypto people get into it, the markets become more liquid. Candidly, people just learn and understand it better. I don't know what it will be, but I'm kind of looking forward to like whatever clever kid comes up with like financial primitives and integrations on top of Polymarket. I think that'll be super interesting, and there will probably be like some, hopefully some really good tokens to like long like in that basket of new primitives. um I think if we just get closer and closer to the social stuff, right? Like Zora doesn't feel like it's it, but it feels closer than Friendtech was, right? And Fantasy Top, yeah, I actually think Friendtech was low-key kind of cooler than Fantasy Top, but like some people would say Fantasy Top was like a step above Friendtech. So like maybe the next social thing
Somebody
will
will
like
do it with the
finally get
social
it right.
stuff at some
Somebody will get
point.
it right. Yeah. Um, I think like some of the depend stuff is like a half to like a quarter interesting, right? Like, GeoNet is like the biggest RTNK or RTK network like in the world now, and like farmers use that to like steer their tractors, right? Like Helium, is expanding like crazy, and the foundation seems to be pretty aligned with token holders right now. I think those things are really hard to like buy and hold. It's something I always stare at but never actually buy. I think some stuff like Telegram is actually like incredibly interesting, and like Ton, like it feels like I can feel myself getting nerd sniped, but I'm staring at that a lot. But you just have to be patient. Like nothing is clear yet, to be honest, at least from my perspective.
I like the Telegram. I wish the Telegram thing is like always interesting to me. I don't know why it's
Right,
so
because we're all
like,
on it.
yeah.
We're all on it, and they have a blockchain. Vlad like got like or sorry, not Vlad, but like Pavel, right? Like he got like debanked and arrested in France. He's like a Bitcoin whale. Like he's crypto aligned. So there's something there. I don't know if the token's gonna actually go up, but like there's always something interesting there.
What do we do with Zcash, bro?
Dude, I had my ultimate bear post where I was like
Don't say it.
cold cold store for the next couple of years. Zcash is actually just a Bitcoin hedge right now, right? Where like there's legitimate privacy concerns for Bitcoin. There's legitimate quantum concerns for Bitcoin. Zcash seems to have solutions for both of those. Zcash seems to have the right character and cohort, proof of work, Bitcoin tokenomics. It's got like the right moneyness components, distributed holders, right? Like it's shown that it can rally and capture mind share and like create Zodl culture, which is kind of essential, right? Like it's, Murad is probably a little too locked into SPX, but like I'm sure he holds some Zcash. So I think you need to like look at the old Bitcoin charts though, and like accept the fact that Zcash might just be running the Bitcoin playbook. So, open up the ancient scrolls of like Bitcoin price action in the first two cycles. The ancient scrolls tell me Zcash can go as low as like 150. So,
Oh,
you know,
dude, why would you say that?
but hey, to everybody here, I was live tweeting this entire trade. I live tweeted when I got in on it. I live tweeted when I
Me
trimmed the
too.
position at
When I
the top.
exited,
We were on that one. And then yeah, so I basically like killer trade for me, sold half, and then the other half is just in cold store now, right? Because that's what you do with Bitcoin. You just cold store it and you just wait, right? So yeah, Zcash, maybe it bounces back. Maybe it's on an accelerated Bitcoin timeline because people know what to expect. That's like a fair perspective. Or maybe it is just on the Bitcoin timeline and it'll hit 150 and then you wait for the next happening.
okay. So the last thing I want to ask you about is you have like 110% of your net worth in Bitcoin, and you popped into our team chat today with an article about quantum, and you said, I'm actually concerned. Which is concerning when 110% of your net worth is in something.
Yeah.
What do we think?
No, I'll be honest with chat. I'm struggling right now. Like I'm I'm holding Zcash as like an actual hedge to like the what is now an entirely legitimate possibility that like quantum is an existential threat to Bitcoin. It looks like there's soft forks that can solve privacy, which is awesome. I think ordinals, um, there was a couple of days of ordinals where like fees in Bitcoin were greater than block rewards. That would actually solve your security budget, right? If fees were greater than block rewards, the security budget wouldn't be a problem anymore. So soft forks can fix privacy, and continuing to slowly add programmability, whether it's alkanes or ordinals or opcat or bitvm2, continuing to add basic programmability improvements to Bitcoin, I actually think will solve the fee problem and the security budget in the long term. But quantum, I have not read any proposal for solving the quantum resistance of Bitcoin that does not involve a hard
Can you
fork.
explain the quantum risk? No one's been able to say anything other than fast computer.
Yeah, so it's essentially like, computers are ones and zeros, right? And then quantum computers are like 1, 0, or both at the same time. And basically what it lets you do is like create probabilistic outcomes. And one of the things that it also lets you do, and someone could correct me and I could be wrong here, but like it basically like lets you factor numbers, right? And like the way numbers are like factored is essentially like kind of the core math of like encryption. So it basically like it cracks the core math of encryption, right? So like you can break like the signature curves that basically like hide private keys behind public keys on Bitcoin, right? You can crack that. And so basically, given a public address, a quantum computer can basically do a probability snapback and like give you the private key for that public
Like it
address.
can, or we think that it maybe will be able to.
It can. Like yes, like the problem is like so like SHA-256.
Yeah.
That's like 256 like bits wide, right? Or bytes or something, but it's basically like the width of the number in computer space, right? Like ones and zeros, right? So to do SHA-256, you need a computer that can hold a number that large, essentially. I'm kind of like simplifying it, right? But you need a computer that's wide enough. All modern computers can just crunch straight through that, right? Quantum computers, like if you can only create 2 quantum bits at a time, right? 2 qubits, then you can't do like SHA-256. You can do like SHA-2, right? So basically, like the math has already been proven that a quantum computer of sufficient like logical bits can crack the signature curves and get you Bitcoin private keys. But it's just no quantum computer has enough bits at the same time to hold the algorithm to do the math problem.
Okay, so basically what you're
So
saying is
that's
it's like a
why,
compute problem. It can do it, but
yes, yeah. The logic is there, right? Like
so
you're
telling me no one's fucking built something strong enough to do this yet? No one has it.
Yeah. So the way to the problem
Is
is
this not
like
concerning? Is this real?
yeah, it's like low key kind of real. So like the quantum computers, like you're basically playing with quantum states, which is essentially like incredibly excited, like electrons and atoms, and depending on like the topology and like architecture you pick, right? But like those are wildly unstable. But you have the observation problem of like when it's like Schrodinger's cat, right? It's alive and dead until you open the box, right? Like think of it like when you bump the system, it's like when you bump the system and your quantum like chip touches reality, you lose the quantum state, right? So it's kind of like it's like hot potato almost, right? where like you know, sure, I can do one hot potato, I can do two hot potatoes, but when I have three hot potatoes, I'm going to drop one, right? So, like quantum, you're like juggling the hot potatoes, right? And like you need to design the computer that it can juggle all of these hot potatoes at once, right? And you need to be able to juggle enough to do the
So what's our
256,
timeline
right?
on this?
I don't know. I've been reading like I think Nick Carter reached like 2035 was his like suspected date. I don't know if I like agree or disagree with that. I haven't done enough personal research to have my own timeline yet, but like Nick Carter's a smart guy, so like until I do enough research to have an opinion, I'll just quote him and say
Okay, so
apparently
I have to go get a
2035.
quantum guy on stream, right? Like this is crazy.
Yeah. And so then the problem is you um you um you can only solve old coins with a hard fork. So what I can do is I can take my Bitcoin private key and I can move it, or I can basically create a new address with a new signature format, and that signature format can be quantum resistant, right? So I can have a non-quantum Bitcoin address, and I can convert it to like a quantum Bitcoin address, and a soft fork can do that. But the problem is, I need to transfer my non-quantum Bitcoin to a quantum Bitcoin address. So, what are you going to do about Satoshi's coins? There's a million coins sitting there, right? And if quantum is invented and everybody moves all their coins to quantum addresses, but say Satoshi is actually just dead and nobody can move those coins to a quantum address, somebody can hack that. The first person with a powerful enough quantum computer can hack it. So that's why all of the proposals are like, okay, do we need to hard fork Bitcoin and basically take all of those coins and move them to a quantum resistant address? But that's confiscating his coins. And this is the fear is like Bitcoin works because nobody has confiscated your coins and you've been able to trust the system the whole time. But if the Bitcoin ecosystem coordinates to a hard fork, will the monetary value of the current Bitcoin blockchain actually move over? Like, if Bitcoin has shown me that it can do a hard fork, do I actually trust it anymore? Because now, why not do the next hard fork? Therein lies the problem with quantum. There's
Damn.
no solution. There's no solution, at least right now that I'm aware of, that solves old coins without a hard fork. And that is like a philosophical
Okay, well we have to figure
existential
this
threat.
out, dude.
We do. We do. Literally, we do. Yeah.
Dude, you have 110% of your fucking net worth in it. What are we talking about?
Well, I'm hedged. I'm hedged with Zcash. I might hedge with some more. I might hedge with some
Yeah, with
less.
like 10%. Dude, your own net worth's in it.
It's scary. Yeah.
You don't seem that scared, realistically. You're like, the world's gonna end, but I'm not really like reading about it right now.
Well, like, here's the thing. Like, um, what I actually just I think it will be a huge, huge, huge deal, but I know it will be a huge deal. So I'm like, okay, like again, nobody said it was going to be easy. Like if we are trying to replace gold and gold's quantum resistant, we have to figure it out. And maybe the path is like, look, maybe fuck it. Maybe Bitcoin does the soft fork for quantum addresses. Everybody who has Bitcoin, they don't want to get stolen, moves it to quantum addresses. The quantum computer is invented. Whoever invents it gets all of Satoshi's coins. And we just have to live with that now. We just have to live with this person having all that Bitcoin. Maybe they dump a huge amount of it. Bitcoin goes down like crazy, but now we're past the quantum hurdle, right? So maybe this happens, right? Maybe we do quantum, Bitcoin goes down 90% in a day, and then it's back to fuck it up only, right? And maybe that's good because again, I still fucking know Bitcoin is going to win, right? Like I can actually, like the delusional conviction, I can stomach a 90% drawdown in Bitcoin.
I
I'll still
can't.
be here, right? Like Well, this is the thing. This is, this is one of my favorite sayings, right? It's like, oh, I won't ride Ethereum to zero. I won't ride Solana to zero. I won't ride Hyperliquid to zero. I'll ride Bitcoin to zero. I will. I'm that much of a believer. Like, I actually care about crypto changing the world that much, right? You have to believe in something.
Now,
So maybe that's how it goes. Maybe it doesn't, right? Like, I'm still working on my opinions, but like, that is an unfortunate but acceptable outcome for me.
ugh, man, that's kind of like, ugh, God. When we get off stream, can we do some some quantum reading?
Dude, I'll send you some
This
chip
has to
design.
be a
I'll send
local
you some
bottom.
quantum
I mean, it's
stuff.
gotta be fucking near 90% in an hour. We gotta be near the local bottom, dude. We have
No,
to
but
be,
90%
right?
in an hour, like in 2035. You got some time.
Tulip King, you're awesome, dude. I'm gonna just,
Dude, yeah.
we gotta go find a quantum guest. Obviously, right?
Dude, someone clip this and send it to Nick Carter. Say, we want you on stream, please.
Is he the one?
Well, I mean, I've been reading his, like, he's been doing a series on,
Someone, he doesn't follow me. Why does he follow me? Nick Carter.
We gotta fix that.
Nick Carter. I have had guest after guest come on stream and scare us with the threats of Bitcoin going down 90% in an hour because of quantum. Please come on the stream. Please educate us. Please give us some bull porn. Open invitation. My goat.
And he has a proposal for how to fix it. It is a hard fork, but he wants to basically hard fork. Like, I think he wants to, like, take Satoshi's coins and then put those back in as block rewards. So basically just add those back in to, like, future issuance. That's sensible. Again, you have to get through the hard fork thing, but, like, Nick, this is your chance to shill. If you're trying to win hearts and minds for your proposal, this is your chance to win some hearts and minds.
I would fucking potentially back it.
Yeah.
Also, everyone's telling me to get Martin Shkreli, but me and Martin have beef. I gotta squash it, dude. I gotta squash it. Tulip King, you're the GOAT. Thanks for coming back on. We were on for a while. This is a lit episode. Is there anything you want to recap, end on, rehash, leave the people with?
Dude, I'm just here to shill Counterparty. Everybody pull up the stream 5 days a week. That's my only show now is Counterparty.
What'd you think of the segment this morning, by the way?
Dude, good. I think we're dialing it in.
It was pretty good. It's better than yesterday's, right?
Oh, for sure. Yeah. And it's only going to get better, right? Like, I'm pretty confident in us here.
I think the way to get through Chop is to just get really smart. And so that's like segment a day. Form our takes, form our worldviews, like flesh out what we believe, why we believe it, what that means as far as a speculative perspective, what we buy, what do we buy, how do we buy it. I thought the segment today was lit. I enjoyed it.
Yeah. And you want to know, like, you need to be able to learn, like, when the coins go down 80%, like, not saying they will, like, you need to know which ones are the ones to buy, right? Like, when everything's down 80%, 3 of those things you should buy. But, like, what's your actual mental framework for buying those 3? Like, that's why, like, the real money is made, like, in the bear market, like, preserving your wealth, getting smart, buying bottoms or buying, like, confirmations of uptrends, right? Like, I made most money last cycle in the transition from bull to bear, or from bear to bull, than I did at, like, the peak of the bull.
This is what I want to do next, is, like, even for myself, for the chat, but for myself, what do I want to buy? When am I going to buy it? How are we buying it on the majors? The short-term stuff, it just pops up, right? God spots pop up.
You just take shots.
But the big stuff can be more thought out and more planned. Also, Apewood, agree to you. Let's get smart. Episode 1, quantum fucking computing, baby. I'm gonna go check the Nick Carter for next week, maybe.
Yeah,
we have the debate tomorrow, by the way. L1s.
That's gonna be good. That's gonna be good.
I have to study for this, I think.
Yeah, we got you.
Say less. TK, you're the GOAT, bro. Much love, buddy. Have a good